Today we're going to cover lesson 7.2, equations with rational numbers. So it's more in the solving for variables on both sides, but we're going to get a little bit more complicated today. We're going to have problems that involve fractions and then decimals in just a minute. So just a quick review: when we have a problem that looks like this, the strategy again is to find that common denominator and then to solve for n. In this case, you'll see that our denominators are 5 and 10. So common denominator, of course, would be 10. So I would put that over here. How do I go from 5 to 10? Times 2 on both, right? So 6/10 n on this side. I'm going to rewrite my whole equation now. And then I will balance and solve, right? So here we go. Where's my bigger fraction, 7/10 or 6/10? I want to subtract this and then move it to the other side, so that would cancel this out. So I'm minusing 6/10. I'm minusing 6/10 here, and that's left with 1/10 n, and that equals moving this one over to the other side. So 2, hopefully you guys can see, 3/2 is the same as, if you can't see it, divided of course, but it is the same as 1.5. So I'm going to subtract 1.5 from 2, add the decimal if needed, and that is equal to 0.5 or 1/2. Alright, so I'm going to rewrite at the top so you can keep track of it. So 1/10 n equals 1/2. Alright, and since I would divide by a fraction, what I can do is multiply by the reciprocal. That would cancel it out, right? 10 over 1, and that would equal 1 over, or 10 over 10, which cancels that out, right? So another way to divide by a fraction is to multiply by the reciprocal, so that's what I'm going to do. And on this side, I have 10 over 2. I can cross-reduce if I want, and both ways will get you the answer of 5. Alright, so I can plug n back in over here, and it would show me balanced sides of the equation. The other type of strategy is decimals. Alright, so I'm not going to take the time to read and solve this whole problem for you, but what you would do then in the case of all of these decimals is, in order to make them easier to work with, GoMath suggests by getting rid of the decimals. So you would do that by multiplying by powers of 10. So in this case, doing them all the same, you would do 2 powers of 10. So that would be the same as multiplying them all by 100. And then in your book, you'll see here, a breakdown of that. It just makes it a lot easier to work with on paper instead of those decimals, which can be tricky at times. That's where a lot of common mistakes happen when computing with them. And there's another example there. You'll see that we have tenths, and then when we see that we have hundredths, you guys can multiply times 100 again in order to make them a lot friendlier to use when computing your answers. And our GoMath favorite idea of real-world situations. All right, so what is a real-world problem that can be used to explain this? And so in terms of our x's here, so again, always think of money when it comes to decimals. What is something that can be related to 55 cents on that side, 95 cents here, and then $60? I think GoMath's idea here is a good one. They're talking about digital music downloads, and so in this case here, the left company charges 95 cents per digital download, and then the company to the right charges less per download, but charges a $60 fee per year. And so you'll see that in the real world today. There's sites that seem like they charge less, but then there's that catch fee in there that they try to trick you. Then there's ones that just sell, by the download. So it depends on, which one you want to go to, the number of songs that you would want to buy, and then that determines over the 12 months which is the better buy. And again, using the strategy here, since we have the decimals, they would suggest multiplying by 100 on all of the numbers, and then for 60, adding the 2 zeros, and then that way you would have your chance to balance the equation and solve. All right, another example here. Sandy is upgrading her internet service. Internet charges $60 for installation and $50.45 per month. I'll make that my variable. Quick Internet has free installation but charges $57.95 per month. And then everyday maths, or GoMath strategy again, multiply everything by 100. So now we have 6,000 plus 5045M equals 5795M. I'm going to subtract now to get rid of it on this side, and I balance it on the right. In doing so, we have 750M goes into 6,000, so I divide that by 750. That's one you want to probably break out the calculator with. If you want to show your work, you can. But as long as you got one, you might as well use it, right? So 6,000 divided by 750, we get 8. All right, so it would be, were they asking to find the number of months at which internet service would cost the same? So for 8 months, that is how they would be balanced. All right, so that is our strategy. Again, we're changing it to make it a little bit more friendly. And these are practice problems first, and that's how we'll do it. We'll work on our pages to work on just the fractions and decimals first, and then we'll on the next day we'll apply it to our different word problems. And again, finding the common denominator, looking at number 2. Common denominator is already there. Looking at 3, you would have to find it again, and it's a matter of just balancing it out. All right, so any questions, let me know. Here's today's assignment. You'll see the breakdown again, doing it step by step. You don't have to use that all if it is confusing to you, but definitely show your work there. And then at the end, what is another real world problem that can be used using those decimals and amounts.